People in villages across my constituency abandoned the Conservatives at the last election, and the reason they did that is because the Conservative Party abandoned them. Well, Madam Deputy Speaker, I can promise you one thing: I won't be.
Steve Barclay.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. I really won't be lost on farmers in Norfolk and across the border in my constituency in Fenland of hearing the member for both South West Norfolk and South Norfolk say how important farming is, having also then voted for the family farm tax. And indeed, that builds on a contradiction we saw at the general election, because the Labour Party said they wanted to offer a new deal for farming. And yet that new deal has... If she wants to intervene, she can, rather than shunter, but go ahead.
I thank the honourable member for giving way. I feel slightly less honourable because he's made false accusations about some of my colleagues who absolutely didn't do that.
Would the honourable lady like to withdraw that comment, please?
I suppose so. Inadvertently calling the member dishonest.
Order! I'd like to think that the honourable lady is not disrespecting me in that comment. Samantha.
Disrespecting the Deputy Speaker, and I do apologise if it's come across that way. I wish to apologise to the member if I have offended him.
That's fine. And if you were trying to bring out an abstention as opposed to a vote against, but the reality is only one Labour Member of Parliament voted against, and people's voting records are there for all to see. Well, of course, if he wants to also give me more time, I'll take a second intervention.
Thank you very much to the honourable gentleman for giving way. Did he read the article in the Farmers Guardian which highlighted that over 20% of the Conservative backbenchers did not even bother to turn up to vote on the day?
A vote on the day, but the point is he didn't oppose it. It came also through the finance vote as well, when there was another opportunity. So there were two opportunities for the House to vote on it. One should look at both votes to determine whether people were for or against, but that's a matter of public record. We've had a number of opposition day debates on this. We've had a number of opportunities in the House, and I think people's voting records and their records more widely on the family farm tax are there for all to see. But the point is, there's only a partial U-turn on that. So if he wants to say that he's opposed to the tax, then hopefully he will support future votes to remove the tax entirely, because we've only had a partial U-turn. So there will still be an opportunity for him to go further. But of course, that's not the only measure. We've seen the sustained farming incentive scheme abruptly stopped with no notice to farmers. There's no timeline in terms of when that is going to be reopened. We've seen things like the Farm to Fork Summit in number 10 scrapped. An important opportunity for the industry to have the ear of the Prime Minister. We've seen schemes on productivity cut, and there's a whole range of things which the member for Ripton and Skipton spoke about in terms of wider pressures. And that really builds on the fact that in the Labour Party manifesto, page 59, there was only one paragraph on farming. And so the first thing I wanted to do was really turn to that paragraph, because one of the few things the Labour Party committed to was to say that 50% of food procured by the public sector would be locally sourced or to higher environmental standards. So will the Minister commit to writing to me with a timeline, given a number of months have now passed since that manifesto, to set out what is the implementation for that? Because that is something that can make a real difference to helping the farming community. The second thing I wanted to highlight is the report of Baroness Batters. She is widely respected, I think, across the House and certainly within rural community. She makes 57 recommendations. I think it is regrettable that that was slipped out right at the end of the Parliament Christmas. But it is a serious report that merits serious attention, and I'm sure the Minister would agree. So could she update the House when she winds up on what the timeline is in terms of implementation of those 57 recommendations, given the pressures that colleagues across the House have spoken of? And third, I just wanted to touch on a theme that I think applies to both debates today, because last year was characterised by a number of U-turns that the government was forced to make, where the Prime Minister asked his backbenchers, not just on the family farm tax, but on welfare reform, on the winter fuel allowance, on national insurance, where the previous budget had triumphed the fact that the tax thresholds were not being extended, the freeze, and then this last budget did exactly the opposite. And already we can see a theme, Madam Deputy Speaker, of a number of U-turns that are pretty foreseeable. One of them from the debate we've just had on jury trials, where there's widespread concerns. But again, in farming, we can see a number of areas. But the one I particularly wanted to highlight is regarding rural pubs. And I commend the Telegraph for the campaign that they have launched. But I just want to speak to the very serious concerns that I, and I think many members across the House of all parties, will be hearing from their rural pubs. And I don't support the ban on Labour MPs from pubs. I don't actually personally think that is the right approach. I think pubs are the heart of our communities. They should be a place that bring people together. But I think the government is making a serious mistake, and I just gently say to Labour backbenchers that I foresee it will be another issue on which they are marched up the hill, only for their Prime Minister under pressure to change his mind. I think he'll do it on digital ID, I think he'll do it on jury trials, and I think he will do it on rural pubs, and we can save people a lot of anxiety if the proposals are changed.